It's wonderful to be here and to be able to see so many of you in person. I'd like to welcome those who have joined us by live stream this morning. I am really excited that we are able to be so inclusive in our board meetings, and so that those who live outside of the megalopolis area are able to see us and participate in this meeting. I would remind those on live stream to email any questions that they may have to one of our, or any questions they have of one of our speakers, to our secretary, Meryl Balaban, who's right over here. Her email address is meryleo, MERYLEO @AOL.com, and Meryl will let me know when a question is received, and I will ask it for you. So now it is my pleasure to call upon Mimi Pollock, who will come to deliver the Devar Torah.
Thank you, Rita, and Boker Tov, everyone. So if you look on page, I'm not quite sure what, I think it's page 4 of your programs. So let me begin. Everyone attending this Women's League Board of Directors meeting is a leader. As leaders, we often find ourselves speaking to groups as well as involving ourselves in one-on-one discussions. In Divrei Chochmah, Pirkei Imachot, Marge Piercy is quoted, "If you want to be listened to, you should put in time listening." Taking into account your new and continuing positions in Women's League, how does this apply to you or not? And my questions here are, what is hearing? What is listening? Is there a difference? And how can we train ourselves to speak less and listen more? The floor is open. And it's, yes, Judy.
I think it applies to everybody. There's no reason it doesn't apply to everybody, whether you're leaders or followers or new to the group, that we all need to listen. I think, I'm not sure which is which. When you listen, you really hear. I think the hearing is more that you actually really know what the person's saying, and not just do it. It's more active, I think. And I think that we should all, I don't know how you do it, but I know that we should do it.
Excellent, Judy. Thank you. Anybody else wish to contribute something? Yes, Lisa. Excellent thought. Excellent thought. Any other ideas that you'd like to convey to all of us? Well, thank you. Yo, I'm sorry. Yes. When you are listening, you're showing respect. And that's a very, very good point. Absolutely. Anybody else? One more? Oh, yes. You have a chance when you're listening to somebody to process what they are saying. Excellent. That's good. Thank you so much. Have a great meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi, and thank you for participating. So we are very, very excited and happy to welcome our newly installed class of Region Presidents, Region Torah Fund Vice Presidents, and a brand new class of Women's League trainers who are with us this morning. I'm going to ask you to all stand so we can see you and recognize you. These women have just completed 3.5 days of very intensive and intense learning and training. They have all given 110% to be able to become the very best leaders that Women's League has to offer. And you will be hearing from them later on in the program. But in the meantime, I ask that those of you who are here in the room take the time to meet them, introduce yourselves, and make them feel welcome as new members of our Women's League Board. I would like to take this opportunity to thank a few people who made this conference possible. I'd like to thank the Women's League directors, Saray, Lisa, and Rhonda. I also would like to thank Iron and Razel and the entire Women's League staff who worked so hard to help us make this conference a success. Okay, and I also want to thank all of the activity chairs who came to the conference to address the region presidents at one time or another during the conference. It was very nice that they came. And I would be very remiss if I didn't thank Mimi Pollock for making all the arrangements, handling the taxis, getting the women back and forth from the hotel, making sure they had money to pay for the taxis, and arranging all the local arrangements, and we thank you very much, Mimi. And for the Torah Fund VPs, they were led by our Lauren Wishnu, Carolyn Barron, Rabbi Abby True, and the Torah Fund staff, and we thank you very, very much for all you did. Oh, I didn't mean to do this, but I'm sorry. I forgot Carol Simon, who is my Regent Service Chair, and my lead trainer. Please stand, Carol. Sorry, I didn't mean, okay. I was getting to Margie. Give me a chance. I didn't forget Margie. Okay, Margie, who did all the training for the last 3.5 days with the new class of Women's League trainers. Margie, we thank you very much. And new trainers, would you stand? New trainers, where are you? Okay. Okay, I think I got everyone now. Before I begin reporting on meetings and events that have recently taken place, I'd like to express my gratitude to each of you for the friendship and support that I've received during the recent loss of my beloved mother. The notes, the donations, the food, the calls, the visits that I received from many of you were so very comforting and did much to lift my spirits during this sad time. I am very blessed to belong to such a caring community of friends as those that I have in Women's League, and I am very grateful to be back with you where I can thank each of you in person. I'm very excited to tell you about a new addition to the Women's League office. We now have WebEx and Skyping in our conference room of the office, which enables members of our executive committee and other committees to participate in our meetings face-to-face rather than via conference calls. This, you can applaud that, it's great. This is a major improvement as it is interactive and it is so much more pleasant than holding a phone for hours during these meetings. I want to personally thank Saray Crane for getting this done in such a timely manner, and am grateful to United Synagogue and especially Marty Kunoff, who was their WebEx expert, for educating us and helping us get this accomplished, and thank you, Saray. I'd like to call your attention to this beautifully done proceedings booklet from our biennial convention 2012. And I want to say special kudos to Harriet Merkowitz with help from Rhonda Kahn for putting this together, this outstanding piece. This is a perfect example of the kind of quality that puts our best face forward. I have one copy here with me today, which I will pass around, but you can also access this on the Women's League website. Just please be sure I get my copy back. Okay. And speaking of putting our best face forward, I hope that you all received the newest edition of CJ Magazine, so beautifully illustrated with Israeli artist Avner Mariah's beautiful artwork. I hope you've all taken time to look through this magazine and have noted the new format, the upgraded quality of paper, and the outstanding editorials and articles that make up its content. I'd like to thank Rhonda, who's not here today, but she knows I thank her, and her editorial committee, Renee Glazier, Lois Silverman, and Faye Lavison, for this beautiful publication. Thank you, ladies. And lastly, I hope you all have received the new Women's League calendar diary. This year's diary focuses on our new theme, Mishpacha, and illustrates how we can come together to address the needs of our members and in our communities as one community or as a mishpacha. Our diary is used by professionals and men and women alike, and is one of the best sources of publicity that Women's League puts out. Again, we give our thanks to Rhonda for her efforts in putting this beautiful diary together. If you have not gotten yours or you want to buy an extra one, I believe Razel brought some with her today. So attached to your agenda is a tentative calendar for June through December. Please take a minute to look it over. Should be right after the DeVar tour. Looks like this. These are the meetings we have scheduled through December. I would like to ask for the board to give approval for this calendar. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. You don't have to raise your hand. And any opposed or have a correction? Thank you for approving the calendar. Also, you'll notice attached to the back after the reports are forms for the upcoming Leadership Institute and OMI that will be taking place in July. And if any of you know anyone that you think might be interested in attending, or if you would like to attend yourself, even though you're a leader, the OMI is like the graduate course to leadership, and it will be taught by our wonderful Shelley Golden. The Leadership Institute, of course, by Margie Miller, and if we get enough of you, we'll bring in another trainer to work with her as well. I hope you will consider coming or recommending somebody from your sisterhood or your region to come, and we'll sign up soon. Also attached to your agenda, very efficient here, is the wonderful flyer to sign up for our Women's League mission to Israel. And you'll note, whoops, here's my banner right over here. We will be leaving for Israel on October 21st, I think, and we'll be returning on November 3rd. I hope you will consider coming with us and spending this 10 or 11 days with us as we explore Israel together and get a chance to meet with the Masorti women who make up all of the Masorti Kahilot and women's groups throughout Israel. It's going to be a very exciting day. I'd love to have you with me. I know I'm going to have Anna Trachtenberg say a few words about that later on, but I really hope that you will consider joining us. We'd love for you to bring your family and your friends as well. Now, I have made 3 appointments to the Women's League Board for which I need your approval, and I'm going to ask for approval for 2 of them right now, and we will do the 3rd one later, and you'll see why. Okay. First, I have appointed Jeannie Blair from the past region president of the Florida Region branch, Florida Region, and Sharon Shorten from the BQLI region, also a past region president. Both of these women will be taking on significant jobs at our upcoming biennial convention a year from July, and I would like your approval to appoint them to the board. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Welcome to the board, ladies. Okay. A reminder to all of you sitting here to make your contribution to the Kol Isha Leadership Society. This is an obligation. You have all received emails, you've received it in writing, you've received it, you've seen it like a million times, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion because we did change our fiscal year to June 30th instead of August 31st. So even I thought I had paid this year and found out, I got one of those emails myself, and I found out I hadn't paid. So if you have any question as to whether your name is on the unpaid list, Razel has a list of people who have not fulfilled this obligation with her today. We really, really need you to fulfill your obligation with a minimum donation. We'd love more, but a minimum donation of $54 before June 30th. Please be sure and take care of it while you're here today. And lastly, if you are new to this board and you have not signed and returned your conflict of interest form, those of you who are ongoing don't have to do it again. Just the new, I was told we don't. And I was told no. Okay. Anybody who has not signed a conflict of interest form, please do that. I believe Razel has some with her. Razel's just wonderful. She's like my person to turn to for all these nitty-gritty things that keeps our organization going. This form is really a legal requirement, and as I was just told, must be done every single year in order for us to maintain our compliance as a nonprofit organization. So this is by law that we have to do this. Okay, now that we got all that out of the way, I wanted to tell you just a little bit and say a few words about the wonderful commencement ceremonies I attended right here at the JTS, which was on May 23rd. I have to tell you, the opportunity to participate by marching in the commencement ceremony in full robe, gown, hat, the whole 9 yards, has been a personal highlight for me during my presidency. I truly enjoy the festive atmosphere and being able to witness the accomplishments of each of the students who graduates from here. And among the honorary degrees that were given this year was one that particularly stood out. It was given to Congressman John R. Lewis from the 5th District of Georgia, who marched with Martin Luther King Jr. and with then Chancellor Abraham Joshua Heschel in Selma, Alabama, during the height of the Civil Rights Movement. He was 17 years old at that time, if you can imagine the impact that must have had on his life. And he was chair of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Congressman Lewis was invited to give the keynote address at the commencement ceremonies, and to hear him speak of that period in our history and how his connection to the Jewish community was solidified during that time was very moving and inspiring. He was exceptionally motivating for the graduating students and for all who were there in the audience, and it was a privilege to hear him and be part of this very special day at the JTS. And speaking of the JTS, I would like to bring you up to date on the meetings that Saray and I have been having with Mark Gary, who is the Executive Vice Chancellor and COO of the JTS, and Marilyn Cohn, who is the Director of Development at the JTS, to discuss a new agreement between Women's League and the JTS for the campaign that we run on behalf of Torah Fund. The contract that was in effect since 2008 expires on June 30th this year. As both Mark and Marilyn assumed their positions in the seminary during the past year, the negotiations of a new contract began a little late and are still ongoing. I'm going to ask you to silence cell phones, please. Put them on vibrate or turn them off. Thank you. I am hopeful I am hopeful for a positive outcome to these negotiations, but it is still a work in progress. Therefore, as you will hear from Janet Kirshner when she gives her report, we do not have a completed budget to present at this time. As soon as we complete our agreement with the JTS and can then complete our budget, I will be calling a special board meeting that will either be, well, it probably will be by conference call because I think it's going to be too many people for WebEx. The budgets will be sent out in advance. Janet will tell you all this. And we will present it in its entirety during this conference call meeting so we can all have a chance to review it, ask questions, and vote on it. So please look for notice of this special meeting in the near future and plan to be on this call with us. Now, as many of you already know, we are saying farewell to our dear friend and colleague, Carolyn Barron. Carolyn is retiring as the director of Torah Fund and moving to Florida in the next couple of weeks. However, I have vowed not to let Carolyn get away completely. So I am now asking for the approval for my third appointment to the Women's League Board, and that is to appoint Carolyn Barron as a member of the Women's League Board. All in approval? I think that was a yes. Okay. So Carolyn, we all wish you well, and even though we will miss you, you can now join in on our board meetings through either live stream or WebEx, so you will still remain a part of us. Thank you. Yes, she does. You have to sign a conflict of interest form and pay your kolisha. Okay. She's always paid her kolisha, I know. So on the same note, I'd like to introduce and welcome Rabbi Abby True, please stand, the new director of the Torah Fund campaign. Now, I've known Abby for several years now and feel very confident that she will do everything in her power to make the Torah Fund campaign a huge success. We welcome you, Abby, and we are all looking forward to working with you. This concludes my report for today's meeting. And again, let me just say how good it is to be back with all of you and back in New York and to be working with my friends and my colleagues once more, and to thank you again for your support during my absence. And now I would like to call upon our Executive Director, Saray Crane, who will give her report.
Okay, Rita's already told you much of what's going on, so I'm not going to repeat what she said, but I am going to say that the last 3 days with all of you who have been here in training have been very wonderful, and I feel like I have a whole group of new best friends with whom I'm going to be in contact for the next 2 years. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you. This has been a terrific group, and everybody on the board should know that we're very excited about our up-and-coming leadership, and we really have great confidence that these women will all be doing a wonderful job for us. So just to fill you in, that in addition to video conferencing and the other things Rita talked about, we do have a signed contract with the hotel, and we're very excited that, for convention, yes. I'm sorry, my head is at convention, yes. We do have a signed contract with the Hanover Marriott in Whippany, New Jersey, which is 23 miles west of Newark Airport. We were looking for a place that's in driving distance for as many regions as possible. We believe that 7 regions will have women who can drive. Different women will drive to this one than those who drove to Las Vegas, which is what we're trying to do. So we're really excited. It's a very wonderful hotel, and we are sure that our convention committee, led by Margie Miller and Randy Schwartz and Phyllis Goldberg, will be doing a great job. Also want to talk to you a little bit about CJ Magazine. You just received, I hope you just received the last issue. Starting in the new fiscal year, you will be receiving CJ Magazine 3 times a year instead of 4. It will be every 4 months. But we haven't really cut. We've added a website. So we hope that you will all go to the website. You can access it through the Women's League website. It's interactive. You can comment. You can give us feedback. So we're extremely excited and looking forward to having better communication with you. And as you know, CJ Magazine is a partnership of Women's League, the Federation of Jewish Men's Club, and the United Synagogue. And the owners actually meet a couple times a year to look at the business end and to review this. And surprise, surprise, what's our biggest concern? Print advertising, just like every other publication in the world. So if any of you have any great ideas about new advertising or sources we might contact, we would be very happy to hear from you, both in terms of print advertising, and now we have a new venue, the website, because the CJ website allows for advertising. So please, if you have thoughts on it, call and share them. We're eager to hear from you. I also, as long as we're talking about CJ, Rhonda Kahn couldn't be here today. She had a personal matter that had to be taken care of today. But I do want to thank her, and I think all of the new incoming region presidents want to thank her that she did a total revision of the handbook, which makes it much more useful for them. So in addition to everything else Rhonda does, she took this project on, and we're very grateful. Much better volume. Rita reminded you about your board obligations. We know there was confusion. Going forward, we figured out a way where we think we can eliminate some of the confusion. We will send you a reminder July 1st telling you the new fiscal year has begun. And we'll tell you what you need to do. And then we'll send you quarterly reminders, so it won't be at the end of the year. and we're working on ways that we can communicate with you better. In terms of our partnership with other arms of the movement, we've been thinking about ways that we can better serve our sisterhoods, and we found that we can do this through our partnerships. So we talk to Men's Club on a regular basis, and we talk to United Synagogue, because we're the arms that really serve the membership of the congregations, or Kehilot, as United Synagogue likes to refer to them. We have a new partnership that also includes the executive directors. So as we hear from you about a variety of issues related to how we do business within the sisterhood, we've discovered that, guess what? Our partners have the same issues, and we're working on coming out with directives that kind of take the tension out of it by bringing it to a different level. So as you share what's going on in your sisterhood with us, we're trying to figure out how to use that information to the benefit of other sisterhoods, and believe it or not, men's clubs and congregations, and how to work with the executive directors. So we've been partnering well. Also, Rita and I had a meeting recently with the president, the incoming president, and the executive director of Women of Reform Judaism, which is a group that has a similar demographic to us and basically has the same mission. So we've opened up that line of communication so we can be sharing with them what our concerns are, what we've succeeded in, what our challenges are, and hearing from them that, guess what? They have the same issues and the same challenges, so it's more people around a table trying to figure out what's going on, and we can learn from them as well as they're learning from us. So that was a very positive meeting, and we look forward to continuing that discussion. I do want to remind you what I remind you every week in my weekly message. Per capita is due by the end of the fiscal year, which is rapidly approaching, June 30th. So anything you can do to remind sisterhoods that that year is ending and get it in would be much appreciated. This year, and I guess it was due to lots of events and occurrences beyond our control, things seem to be coming in later. They are coming in. They were just a little late. We have a new pattern. We can live with that. Just get it in by June 30th. And I guess the other thing, Lisa has been very busy at work on preparing next year's theme on Mishpacha. You will be hearing much from her as to how the theme is being developed. The ORPA selection is coming out, and the material will be available over the summer. Lisa's been extremely busy getting this material out so that you will have it in time for the sisterhood calendar to begin in the fall. And the other thing I want to say to you is the Women's League office is your support. We're here to help you and to work with you. We're happy to talk to you, and we hope we're responsive to you. We mean to be. We have a great staff of people who are there to take care of your needs. So please be in touch with us. And again, welcome to our new region presidents and new Torah Fund VPs.
Thank you, Saray. It's now my pleasure to call on Corey Schneider, who will present a report from nominations.
Good morning. Oh, nice. As the beginning of my report, I would like to introduce the Women's League Nominating Committee for 2012-2014, whose responsibility is to elect the region representatives to the board and also provide a slate for the officers and nominating committee for 2014-2017. And all but two are here today, so as I call your name, if you would rise, I'd appreciate it. Gloria Adelson from Southern Region, Iris Lasky, Pacific Southwest, Judy Kenter, Metro North, Faye Levison, Mid-Atlantic, Toby Mazer, International Northeast, Sandy Myers, Seaboard, Sherry Lynn Rubin, Intercontinental, and Evelyn Seelig, BQLI. And we have been working, thank you very much. We have been, yeah. We have been already working very hard. The region nominating committee chairs were trained at convention. We have sent nominations materials and consulted with region chairs and presidents and sisterhood presidents as well. In January, we held a webinar on nominations, filling the void with a record attendance. This was just, I think, the best attended webinar that we've had, distance workshop. And materials and follow-up with all the attendees to that workshop were done. I would like to thank Carol Simon for co-leading it with me. We have requested and received recommendations for nominations of members at large to this board from the region nominating committees. Once the names were received, each woman was contacted and sent full information on the responsibilities of being on the Women's League board, and she was asked to either accept or refuse the nomination. Each region is allowed, according to the Women's League bylaws, one representative for every 8 affiliates or major portion thereof. That means that 56 women serve as elected directors, and other than the officers, these women are the only ones who are elected to the board. Everybody else is appointed. And we have the nominating committee's responsibility is actually to elect these directors. We have done so, and we have provided you with a list of those elected directors in the kit. I would like to ask those elected directors to please rise so that we can welcome you to this board. Thank you for joining us in our work here, and welcome. And Mazel Tov. Our next responsibility, as I said before, is to come up with a slate of officers and nominating committee for the 2014-2017 administration. The date has been set for the nominating committee to meet, and that is September 23rd and 24th. It happens to be Kol Hamoed Sukkot. An email will be sent to you, to every member of the Women's League board in July, requesting that you send any suggestions of women to serve as officers. This letter will also include the job descriptions for those offices. Women who seek the office of president are asked to submit their names and a statement of vision and goals. The candidates for president will be interviewed by the nominating committee when we meet in September. The deadline for all your suggestions for officers is September 1, 2013. We look forward to providing a slate of exceptional women to lead Women's League into the future. Thank you. The list of elected directors is in your kit. So if you see an elected director, please welcome her and wish her Mazal Tov.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Corey. We welcome all new members, all newly elected members to the Women's League Board. We're very excited to have you as part of us. I would now like to call on Janet Kirshner to present the finance report.
Good morning. I would like to add my congratulations to the new region presidents, the new Torah Fund vice presidents, the new trainers, and the new board members. Mazel tov. As Rita has told you, I am not in a position to present the budget for 2013-2014 as I normally would at this June board meeting. As Rita said, we are in negotiations with the JTS, And when we finalize the TOA fund allocations, then we will come back with a budget. The process is going to be that we will have the Women's League Budget Committee finalize the budget, and then we will bring it to the Finance Committee for their recommendation. We'll bring it to the Executive Committee for their approval, and then we will send it out to the full board. You'll have a chance to look at the budget, and then we will schedule a conference call to review the budget and entertain questions, and then we will have a vote by email or regular mail. So everyone will have a chance to get a look at the budget before it's finally approved, hopefully approved by the Board of Directors. The Executive Committee met last week on June 5th, and I have two changes that I want to mention to you, the Board of Directors, today. The first change relates to the Coley Shaw Society. As you know, that's a mandatory obligation of the board members. For the year 2014-2015, which is not this coming year, but the year after that, we have raised the minimum mandatory obligation to $75. In addition to that, there are two other levels of $100 and $150. That was passed by the Executive Committee last week. And I do have a change to bring to you in connection with per capita. As you know, our current per capita dues per member is $10. That $10 came into effect in the year 2002-2003. So it's 11 years since we have changed per capita. Over the last 11 years, Women's League expenses have gone up. Rent, salaries, medical benefits, postage, the cost of airfare, all these items have gone up. The cost of living has gone up over 130%. So at the same time, our per capita revenues have been decreasing. They've been going down about $30,000 a year over the last few years, and this fiscal year is no exception. We also are looking at this change in the JTS allocation. Therefore, it is time for us to relook at per capita, and your Executive Committee has approved an increase in per capita for the fiscal year 2013-2014. We'll be raising per capita from $10 to $13. However, to make this more palatable to the sisterhoods, since we are doing this late in the year, being that the fiscal year is starting July 1st, for one time only, if the sisterhoods remit the per capita by the due date, which will be January 10th, 2014, they will be able to continue at the level of the $10 per capita. So for 2013-2014, per capita is going up to $13, but will remain at $10 for those that remit on a timely basis. That is always the due date, even though many of our sisterhoods tend to wait till later in the year. For 2014-2015, per capita will also be $13. And for 2015-2016, per capita will go to $15. We need to do this in order to continue to provide all of the programs and the support to the sisterhoods that Women's League has a history of providing. And this is essential that we do that, and we wanted to bring this to your attention. And this will be reflected in the budget that we will bring to you when we bring the budget later on in the summer. Okay, thank you.
Okay, ladies. We're getting into the real meat of our agenda here. I'm going to call on Shelley Golden to please present an update from the Strategic Planning Committee.
Thank you. So how cool is this? We're going from planning to implementation. So we're really very, very excited. And I'm very excited to say hello to those on live stream as well. I am not 10 pounds more, I am less. But if you see that, it's a little bit different. So, talking about strategic implementation, please note that you have a sheet in your packet. We want you to go home, read it, talk about it with other people, share with it. Basically, when we actually met, and there were 28 of us that had calls and calls and calls and calls for the past year, and mostly for the past 2 years, but more in getting into the reality of what it is we need to do. And basically, we came down with, it needs to be easier to do business with Women's League. We want to build relationships. We want to go down to the grassroots level and make sure that every person knows that they are part of Women's League. We want greater turnaround responses. We want to share new and old programs so that they can actually be used on the grassroots level. We want to be available for every woman who wants and needs information about Women's League. So you have in front of you a 2-page written report of what we've come to up until now. This is not a decisive report. It's not something where we're saying this is actually how we're going to do it, but we're going to tell you the things that we can move ahead with and those that need more discussion. So the first thing was membership, and the big thing from membership was to develop a multiple entry membership program so that those in sisterhoods can remain sisterhood members as well as members of Women's League, and those who were not able to actually become members of sisterhoods for various reasons could actually find value in becoming a member of Women's League directly. And therefore, we had points that showed up under membership, and we're going to start in July through December of 2013 to begin doing things differently. And we will evaluate, and evaluate. My only request is that you support us in trying to make change, go from talking about it to actually doing something, and then evaluating to see if it works. And if it works, great, and if it doesn't work, move on and do the next thing. So in terms of, again, membership, build a structure for helping sisterhoods directly market and retain their members. It's the reality that we have to look at. And in terms of our leadership, and why I'm bringing this up to the board, is you are the actual leaders of Women's League. So therefore, what we want you to do is see things clearly and exactly the way it actually is, to lead wisely and to create impact. And we hope that this strategic implementation from talk, plan, to do, will do that. We will create impact. In leadership, we'd like to establish a process to hold women accountable for accomplishing individual goals. We used to have lots of entitlement positions and so forth and so on. We really need your help. So we're going to review what is it that what positions do we have? Does it help the organization? Can it move forward? And how can it change? Create leadership training so that you never have to plead to women to take a position and say, don't worry, we'll help you. Now, I know that's hard to say right now because we have 13 new region presidents, and I am sure they didn't tell you that. But please, that succession leadership works and that everybody wants to be in your spot. And then to review the activity chair responsibilities and prioritize need as necessary. The next one was products and services. Again, you will have time to read and discuss among yourselves, but to look at it and establish a process for dissemination of our new materials as well as our older materials, and actually look and see what's being used, how it's being used, and how far down can we drill. provide products for individual women, both in sisterhoods and outside of the sisterhood perimeter. And you can look at that. And then the next one is communication, to deploy different delivery systems for an intergenerational membership. Some people need it in hard copy. Some people want it in a blog. Some people want to go to a website. Some people want to be talked to on the phone. This is all necessary to get the word out. And what we're trying to do in our attempt to be easier to do business with Women's League, to determine which delivery system works best for which product, which program, and which individual. And you'll be reading that. And last but not least is something called Organization Structure Review. And I just discussed before about seeing things clearly, lead wisely, and create impact. We are going to review the structure of Women's League. What works, what doesn't work, how could we move forward? You are not losing your jobs. Your jobs may look different. They may have a different title, but what you're all working for is the success of a new organization in 2013. So yes, we're going to be reviewing, and what happens is you become very important for us. The new region presidents, up until 2015, will be asked to look, what is making your hair gray? And don't tell me now, don't share it. Okay, what is working, what's not working? What do we need to make it work in your area? What are the areas like? Do they work together? Are you working in silos? Have you become more of a programming committee than an actual working committee to do better for your area? These are all things that we'd like you to discuss. Take home these 2 pages, talk about it within your region meetings, talk about it within your sisterhoods, contact us so that we know how you're feeling about this. The worst thing that we can hear, though, is A, it won't work, B, we've tried that before, and C, what about me? We will remember you. We know we need to change to make things new work, and we want you to be part of it. So we hope that you read this. We hope that you use it. We hope that you talk with us so that we can respond. We need the reliability of our friends within the organization, and we need to know that the integrity of our work is going to change this very important organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. As you can see, there's been a lot going on, and it is all very exciting and creative and new, and it's going to be wonderful. And speaking of new, Women's League has a wonderful new initiative that is about to begin, and I'd like to ask Dr. Barbara Levin, who we are so fortunate to have as one of us on our board, a former Region Torah Fund VP, to tell you all about what's going to happen. Thanks.
Thank you. And a present Southern Region Education VP, very important. First of all, good morning, and everybody take a deep breath. This is for something entirely different. In fact, I think everybody stand up for just a minute, kick out a little bit, you know, get a little movement there. The whole idea is to get a wiggle on here. We want to move this organization. So when you're ready, you can sit down if you feel stretched out. I am not going to read my report to you. I feel sure that literacy is not a problem here, as it has been in the community I've served for the past 33 years. But if it is, check me afterward, and I know you forgot your glasses. That's the key word. In any case, today I want to share with you 3 or 4 different ideas about the Women's League Wellness and Learning Project. I need to say that this is a project that's been built on something we've been piloting in Southern Region, and it came from it's a brainchild of our past regional president, Anne Greenbaum. I don't think we need to give her credit for that. But the Wellness and Learning Project is something that brings to Women's League something that is both new and old at the same time. All women are interested in their health, particularly when you get to my age, you get more interested, and you try to feel what you can do personally. We're looking at growth for individual women, we're looking for growth for sisterhoods, and we're also trying to think about growth and personal wellness for Jewish women in the aggregate. And today I'm going to share with you 4 things. One is the enthusiasm that we have had for this project so far. The second is the fact of how we're building the committee to function. The third is about the input that we're going to have to the Women's League website. And finally, we're going to talk to you about the survey that has been ongoing and some of the early results that we're having. So with that in place, we did meet at both in our region and at the convention with a number of women to talk about what wellness, what learning, and what spirituality meant to them. And we came up with some really interesting inputs. And we've used those to try to proceed ahead to figure out what's the next step. We have some end goals that we know we want to get to, like a survey, a health appraisal survey, and a spiritual inventory for Jewish women, but we're not there yet. Got to take one step at a time. So the first thing we decided to do, after looking at all the materials that we had brought together from the Southern Region women and from the 65 women who participated at convention, was that we needed to see what was already going on in the organization and who some of the outspoken people on wellness and learning in the organization were. And so with the help of Lisa and Sarai and Rita, we've pulled together a committee that is not written in stone. If you know somebody you think absolutely should be on one of these subcommittees, please see me today or Lisa, and we will add them. But the committee has 2 components. There's a wellness group and a learning group. And the wellness group is made up of a very diverse group of Women League members, many of whom are past regional presidents or sisterhood presidents or present regional presidents, someone of, I think, Fran's out there somewhere. But in any case, who have different connections to health. There are 2 physicians. One, of course, is myself. One is a pediatrician. There's a women's health nurse practitioner. There is a woman who volunteers as a hospice counselor. We have a yoga instructor and various other sorts of counselors. So we're all coming together to talk about where we think we would like to go with the concept of wellness for individually and for our sisterhoods and for our aggregate membership. At the same time, I've had a lot of involvement with Rabbi Alana Cantor, who is in Phoenix, who is one of the group of the first women rabbis who came out of JTS. And she's very committed to her role in educating women specifically, and has been involved in looking at the issues around the learning aspect. What types of things do we want to do to enhance Jewish women's learning, and specifically those things that are emotionally and realistically, not just education for education's sense, but those things that have true meaning to the women themselves. And Alana has been joined on this learning committee with Lisa, of course, as our own education coordinator here at Women's League, Barbara Esring, who is a lay leader, and Rabbi Danielle Bensamy, who she's a cantor, in Florida, and she has been involved with music as a therapeutical modality as well. And these individuals are meeting to talk about how we can add that sort of learning aspect to the wellness aspect, bringing the two hands together into sort of a clasp. So what we decided that we would do as our first thing, and starting in August, the month of Elul, we are going to have a new wellness and learning component to the Women's League website. And each month the presentation will change. There will be two very short little vignettes, two essays or two contributions, one on wellness and one on learning, on a variety of different topics. They will be, there will be a logo, they'll be downloadable, they will not be in the part of the website that you have to have a membership key to get into. They'll be open to Jewish women overall or anyone who goes to the website. And some of the topics that we're looking, of course, initially we're going to be looking at Elul as a beginning and starting out on new things. We're looking at topics as diverse as Torah yoga and water as a spiritual concept and a health aspect. And we're looking to have, at this point, the committee is working on getting 12 topics ready so that each Rosh Chodesh, just before Rosh Chodesh, all those women who subscribe will get a reminder from Women's League to tell them to go hit a little link, and they'll go immediately into the wellness and learning component of the website. We really think this is going to build the basis for our group of women working together. There are things we want to add on later, like things for sisterhoods, and also following up with the survey. So those are two components. That's our committee and our website contribution. We have 100 women, actually 97 women, who contributed to the survey that we did on spirituality in women. And I have a very early report, which I'm going to read to you some of the responses that Taylor Winfield has put together for us. And she has a full report with a lot of metrics, a lot of numbers, how many percentage did this and how many percentage did that. But I'm just going to give you a sort of an overview, a real quick overview. Taylor says, the sense of belonging is an integral role in subjective happiness for the women in this sample. This sense of belonging appears to be a determining factor in why they find spirituality satisfying, what their satisfaction is with religion, and the importance of religion as it contributes to their own happiness. In other words, satisfaction with spirituality and religion, and how important religion is important to each person, stems from their sense of belonging to a community. And she feels that that's probably says something about who these women are. All of these women are, many of you have contributed, all of these women are members of Women's League, and therefore you can see right there that there's a sense, that sense of belonging has a whole lot to do with what their own sense of happiness is. The importance of spirituality to an individual may not be dependent on a community, but in this particular report, it seems important. Finally, I can say that individuals tend to find spirituality important depending on their involvement with their family, their belief and their spiritual practices, and their belief in a higher power. So I'm looking forward to the more in-depth report. I'll be happy to share this with you in any way you'd like to have it. It's not part of the report you have in front of you, but I think it was important to see where Taylor was going with this. Just to share a little bit, if you Google Taylor Winfield, or you go to the website for Stanford, you will see that Taylor was one of the main winners of awards this year for her work with women. Finally, I'd like to say one thing in conclusion. Many people work on wellness. I personally, as a physician and a public health doctor, have worked on wellness for a long time. What is unique about what we in Women's League and Southern Region have been doing? What is unique about this process? What's unique is that we are looking at women in their community. We're looking at women as individuals in their roles as mothers, as wives, as members of synagogues, and women who in themselves are making personal choices about their relationship with a higher power, with God. And I think that bringing that aspect of Jewish learning to the overall issues of wellness is something that Women's League is really stepping out there in front of the the movement, if you want to say the wellness movement, in making a true contribution. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll be around the rest of the day if you'd like to speak with me personally.
Would anybody, I have to tell you, I'm so excited about this new initiative. I've known Barbara since she was a Region Torah Fund VP, and that's how I got to know her, because I was the Women's League Torah Fund chair at that time, and so that's how we developed a relationship. And I'm just thrilled that she's now not hidden in the hills of Tennessee and coming more north, and that she can do this for us, and that her work schedule will allow her to do this for us. And I just wanted to open up the floor if there's any questions or comments that anybody might have about this initiative. Who's sitting out there? Yes, Molly. Speak loudly.
We had a wonderful suggestion from Cantor Danielle, who's a mother with small children. She said, remind me. So what we're going to do is once a woman's been on the site, she can register, and then she will get a monthly, not reminder, but a clue that the new thing is up. So all she have to do is in her email, hit the link, and she'll go immediately to the website, to the right place.
Is there anything else? Anyone else? I'd like to, thank you so much, Barbara. Barbara hit on two areas that I wanted to just reiterate a little with you. One is that Rhonda is currently working very hard on opening up our website, that one of the new initiatives that came from the strategic plan in making it easier to do business with Women's League is protected by passwords all the time, that there's a lot of educational information on our website that can be useful and can be attractive to other people and maybe bring in new members to our organization through that initiative. And I think that this is one of the things that is definitely an outreach to our members. The other thing was that just yesterday evening, the region presidents, the new trainers, and the Torah Fund VPs had a chance to hear from our chancellor, from Chancellor Eisen, who spoke amazingly about how important it is to be part of a community. And Barbara touched on that with her health, how healthy it is, that how people are becoming more and more isolated, especially our youth, our teenagers, because they are so engrossed with their video games at home and with their iPads and their iPhones that they're not really. We used to go outside and play. I don't know about you, but we used to go outside and play games and have fun with our friends. Instead, they're inside. They're inside, and they're becoming more and more isolated from community. And how, as a Jewish community, how important it is for us to reach out to young women, to women who are, and I don't want to just say young women, I want to say women who have become retired and need to reconnect, women who have gone into maybe assisted living or senior citizen facilities, that they should not feel isolated from a community, and they should feel that they can be part of a community through Women's League. And I think that's one of the things this health initiative might help us to accomplish. So just wanted to bring that up to you. And now it's my pleasure to call upon Lisa Kogan, our Education Director, who will talk to us about mishpacha and the modern Jewish family.
Morning. I would like to reiterate a welcome to our new region presidents, but I would also, and I'm not trying to show anyone up here, but I would just like to say also we have some outgoing region presidents. And we want to welcome you too and say thank you very much for really the good work you did. I see a few of you here, and thank you very much from Women's League. You did a great job, and we look forward to working with you all. Before I talk for mishpacha, I just want to do one short exercise. Actually, I'm going to do two, not the kind that Barbara just did. I want you all, how many of you remember what was the subject of the Divrei Chachma this morning? What Mimi did? Please raise your hands if you remember what the discussion was. Just quickly, right here, what was it about? Listening. Now, as a pedagogical tool, I want you to, I had a professor at JTS many years ago who said, there are no 4 words in the English language that make my eyeballs shoot up into the top of my head and start rolling around faster than in this week's Parsha. I'm not going to tell you who it was. You'd be very surprised. But the point of these Divrei Chachma that we have been doing is that it engages women, excuse me, in a short discussion that they'll actually remember. And I guarantee most of you, and I can certainly say this is true of myself, when you hear a Devar Torah that's given by someone an hour later, you would be very hard-pressed to know what the Devar Torah was about. And that's why we have actually initiated this project so that women can engage in a short discussion where there's some participation and that they can take that back. And so that was just really, Mimi, thank you. You did a great job, and it was a great demonstration of what we're going to do. And this is a perfect segue into what I want to talk to you about. I'm going to say 2 expressions, okay? And I want you to think about both of these expressions for a minute, and I want someone here to just tell me what they think about this. I have 2 adopted grandchildren. Okay, that's something. And also, this is my friend who is a wonderful convert. Okay, and forget about convert, who is a wonderful Jew by choice. Now, what do you think about these expressions? Is that you, Judy? Hi. She looks like Elizabeth Taylor back there, although much better than Elizabeth Taylor would look right now. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Your friend who is a convert to Judaism is a Jew. Your friend who is a Jew by choice is a Jew. Now, you don't say, this is Rita Wortley, my Jewish friend. You don't say that. And your adopted grandchildren are your grandchildren. And so what we are attempting to do in Mishpacha, one of the most important goals of this project, is that we are attempting to, on the very first level, to change the way we think about relationships and the way we think about families. And when we put labels in any kind of a statement, you are qualifying that person. Adopted grandchildren are your grandchildren. You don't say, these are my biological grandchildren. You don't say that. And you don't say, this is my Jewish friend. And so that's on the very first level. What we are attempting to do is show that any Jewish family, however it is constructed, whether it is a mother, father, children, whether it is a single mother by choice, whether it is two Abbas or two Imas, whether it is a widow living by herself, whether it is grandparents raising their children, if they define themselves as a Jewish family, they are a Jewish family. And what the goal of this Mishpacha project is, at least by the end of the year, we want women in our organization, and we're not talking just about sisterhoods, but we're talking about all members. And by the way, all of our Women's League programming is designed now moving forward for any member, whether she is a member on her own or a member of a sisterhood. And that is a very important part of our strategic plan. And so even we can say that, she's a member. We don't have to qualify that. She's an individual member. She's a member. And so these qualifiers, we're going to get rid of all of this language. So what we're going to do with Mishpacha, and we have really a wonderful project going forward, and I would like to say, and I'm standing up here telling you about it, but this has been the work of our amazing PAC group, which is headed by our fabulous leader, Judy Kenter. I see a number of our PAC team here. Ellen Bresnick is our books chair. I know Barbara Esring is out there somewhere. Eve, are you here? Is Eve here? Is Isa here? Okay. You'll know who these are, but thank you, Judy, for your wonderful leadership in this. And what we're going to be doing is, as we are with the Wellness and Learning, on our website every month, Wellness and Learning will be there at Rosh Chodesh, at the half point through the month. There will be a Mishpacha offering. And the offerings are going to be focused on particular themes. We're going to have all kinds of themes that we're going to be focusing on, that anyone can look at. You can, as a member, you can go to the website, you can look at what the offering is. If it's a book, if it's a film, whatever it is, you can participate. Hopefully, we're going to be able to, through this, for example, find groups. We're going to find groups, for example, of what happens in these families where one of your children, for example, marries someone who is so orthodox that they won't eat in your home anymore. Okay? And we have a lot of women out there in our organization who have children who won't eat in their homes anymore. So maybe they'll want to get together, this affinity group, and talk about the challenges of dealing with religious diversity in families. What happens when when you have single parents? We're going to be talking about the Noah syndrome. What is the Noah syndrome? Why is everything in twos? We think about everything in twos. And if you are not a two, I've heard this, and we have all heard this from friends. If you are not a two, you are immediately, on some levels, marginalized. And so what Women's League is going to do in our programming is we are going to start to come up with strategies about how we can get first with ourselves, our sisterhoods, our synagogues, our communities, to stop thinking in terms of twos, so that everyone feels as if they are part of that community. Pursuant to that, in addition to the programs that we're going to be offering on the website monthly, we are going to have our ORPA selection this year. Carol, can you hand me my the manila envelope, please? The ORPA selection is on the website already. It is a book written by Jennifer Gilmore. Here, Jennifer Gilmore. It's a novel about a Jewish couple. It's actually an intermarried couple. She's Jewish, who have gone through the horrors of adoption process. And it's a wonderfully written book. And this is going to be our selection for ORPA. In addition, for Jewish Book Month in November. In addition, a new thing. we are going to have an ORPA selection for children. We have 2 books that have just come out by Carbon Press, which you might know, those of you might know, is a major publisher for books for Jewish children. One of the books is called The Purim Superheroes, has gotten a lot of press, and it's about a child, and it's really nominally about the child who has an Abba and a daddy, but it's also, it has to do more with taking pride in who you are and not having to remain hidden like Queen Esther did. The other one, and we're deciding which will be the official selection, is about international adoption, and it's about a family that brings an Asian child home, and how they meet this challenge both with her and with her siblings. So we're very excited about this because this Children's ORPA selection will have a variety of different programmatic initiatives also. The last thing we're going to be doing that's new is we are going to start a Women's League Film Forum, and we're calling it WIFLIX. W-O as in women, F-L-I-X. And we're going to have, throughout the year, each month, we are going to have a film selection that will be focused on some aspect of mishpacha. And some of them will be funny, some of them will be serious, some of them will be heartbreaking. And the idea is that people will have, they'll find this film, they'll see it, search it out, they'll watch it, and then we're going to have a discussion online. And perhaps as like a conference call for people who want to get together and talk about this film. So we have a variety of very important initiatives, and what it's really, I think I want to underscore what Barbara said, what we are doing with our programming now is we are looking at issues that confront and challenge women today. And what we are doing as we identify issues of women's health, as we identify challenges in today's modern family structure, what specifically does our Jewish tradition provide us with in order to cope with and deal positively with these new challenges? And that's what Women's League brings originally to these projects. That's why we are situated to present the Jewish view on these very important issues. And it's new and it's exciting. And we're hoping that you will take these back to your sisterhoods, to your regions. We're planning on having a very aggressive, in a good sense, of contact with our region chairs. We discussed this with the region presidents. Judy and I, Ellen and I, Barbara and I are going to be speaking regularly with the chairs, the corresponding chairs in each of the regions this year, and they in turn are going to be carrying the mission, drilling down, as Shelley would say, into the sisterhoods through the sisterhood program chairs, the sisterhood book chairs, the sisterhood Jewish studies chair. And we're hoping that we can take these very important messages that we think that we have to deliver down, down, down to our grassroots, so that the per capita monies that you're sending in will be, in fact, very good investments in the survival of your sisterhoods, in your synagogues, in our community. All right? Yes, Shirley.
Stand up, Shirley, and speak loud. Say where you're from.
That's a very good idea. Okay, that's an excellent question, and first of all, there's going to be, in every issue of CJ, we will have something about these new initiatives so that people will at least know it's there, okay? So that's going to be reaching, 240,000 homes, that issue. It's also a policy, and Saray has made this very clear, that any woman who cannot get something online, we'll say, Tell us where you want us to send it. Someone here will download it for you and send it to you. So that, we can't say, tough luck, you don't know how to turn on a computer, you're out of here. We are going to, as Shelley said, we are going to look for as many portals as possible to reach our membership, even if it means getting on the phone and talking to them the old-fashioned way. But that's a very good point, and we know this, and we will certainly deal with this as well. Any other questions? Yes. It's called Rebecca's Journey Home. Okay? Oh, and by the way, the publishers, the mother's book is not coming out in paperback, alas, until the spring, but the publisher is giving us a 50% discount on hardcover books, which your book clubs can purchase in bulk, but they just can't, if you want the 50% off, you can't return them. So you'll have to sell them in your gift shop or whatever, your Judaica shop. Also, these books are, and that will make it $13. These books you can get from Carbon, and they are also going to provide a Women's League discount for book clubs that want, and by the way, your book clubs can read these as well. These don't just have to be for children. These are both wonderful discussion points for book clubs, and we're going to recommend as an additional programmatic, you may want to set up, a Sunday morning reading group with the children in your communities on this book. Yes? I know that Mothers is absolutely is an e-book, e-reader, absolutely. I don't know what what the Carbon thing is. You might want to, if it's a children's book, you really want it because they're both beautifully illustrated. Yeah, Carol. Yes. I think it's on the website already. I think it's already on, and if it's not, we will have to. By the way, there's also an NPR interview with the author already on the WLCJ website. So if you just look at Orpah, you will find the interview. Yeah, Gloria? Pardon? Yeah, we're very excited about it. Yes, Anna? I said to Rita one day, I said, if we achieve nothing else after the end of this year programmatically than to have our women really as the soldiers out there leading the charge about changing the way our communities think about families. If we achieve nothing other than that, and that we can begin to affect a sea change in this, we have achieved a tremendous success. And so that's what all of you have to do. When you hear someone use any problematic language, well, that all right, Anna, you come up with a plan. I saw one more hand. What? Anna Trachtenberg's question was, how do we get this message out beyond our walls? And that's what the role of all of you. We are an organization of 50,000 women. And imagine if every single woman in our organization, when they hear one person say something that is problematic, they might say, why are you using that expression? Isn't your adopted grandchild your grandchild? Isn't this woman that you just called a convert to Judaism a Jew? And that's how you start a movement. And we can do it, yes. Oh, Eve, this was not, right. Right. This was not exhaustive, the list. These were just EGs. We're going to include that. Okay? Yes. That is still the issue of, Eve asked about what happens when you have a non-Jewish spouse. A non-Jewish spouse and a parent, right, and children who are Jewish, who are being raised as Jewish. That's a the issue is that every synagogue has its own policy, and the Women's League policy is that the rabbi of every synagogue is first, last, and always the Mara D'Atra. And the sisterhood must follow the lines, whatever the dictum is of that rabbi. However, Women's League policy has now extended to, officially, correct? That non-Jewish women can become members of sisterhoods. But that is, again, contingent upon the synagogue policies. And they can become members of Women's League. And so, but we are going to extend, there's going to be a vast groupings, and, and what we're doing is we're extending K-Ruv. K-Ruv, up until now, has meant Jews and non-Jews, but we're extending it. We're really, we're broadening the definition. Okay? Yes. Is that just a policy in the New York City public? Okay. Okay. Okay, what Florence suggested is that you should investigate your local libraries, because some libraries will, if they know a book club is going to be reading a specific book, will cull books from within their system for your book club. And so you should just check in with your local library. Yeah, Evelyn? That's right. And that's, something, Evelyn, that's our hope. I really do. I think that's our hope, that we are going to be the leaders in this. We're going to be out, as Barb says, with wellness and learning, we are going to be in front of this curve. Yeah.
So I think it's incredibly exciting, and I think it's wonderful that we're putting this out on the website and using all of those things. Could we think about our new friend Webinex and possibly doing community forums? I'm sure maybe this has already been in your thought patterns, but I'm wondering if that would be a thing that we could set up, and this way people, without the traveling burden, et cetera, and you could, or part of your, whoever is going to make presentations, and do it that way, and you can base region meetings around it, you can base sisterhood meetings around it, and, tune in X to such a time, and we're going to have a community forum about where do we go with that. I'm wondering if that's a consideration, if it's...
Saray's shaking her head yes. She said that, yeah. Okay. Okay. Wow, I'm really glad that you guys are about this, because that makes Judy and me very happy. Yes. Yeah, surely.
In 2008. Shirley and others, ladies.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Women's League, I'm sorry. I am.
Okay.
She wants to know about what her sisterhood bylaws say in relation, but I'm going to make this a general statement. Women's League accepts any woman as a member who follows and adheres to our mission statement. In an individual sisterhood, it depends on the policy of that congregation and that rabbi and what that sisterhood chooses to do. What your individual sisterhood says or does is up to your sisterhood, as long as it works for the congregation and the rabbi. It's, each individual sisterhood is independent and makes that decision on its own.
Okay, ladies, I think everybody's stomachs are rumbling. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure as always.
Okay, we have our first question from the live stream. I'm so excited. Okay, this is from a brand new, newly elected board member, Ella Bender from Florida region. She heard the general welcome to everybody on live stream, but she wanted to know if I could recognize each of the new members in person, you know, audibly, I guess, by name. I really don't know who's on live stream, Ella, but I'm recognizing you. And they do have a list. There is a list attached to the agenda and the nominating committee report of all of our newly elected region board members, so it is there. Her second question was, will we have access, meaning those on live stream, to materials distributed to board members today? As a board member, I'm sorry, I can't. I'll wait till you're finished with your conversation. Okay. Okay. The second question was, will we have access to materials distributed to board members today? Each board member should have received an email from the Women's League office from Charmaine Hawkins with the agenda and all of the reports that were given today. Now, not every single report was put on there because Mishpacha, our wonderful Lisa, does it right from her heart and doesn't really do it written out. So, but, you know, you've heard that one. So the only thing I can say is if you have not received the packet or the email that came to each board member or should have come to each board member, that you email Charmaine at Hawkins, Hawkins, at WLCJ.org and ask her to send it to you, okay? Thank you, Ella, for emailing us. We're very excited. Okay. Here you are. Okay. And I read it off an iPhone because she can't get it on her computer for some reason. And I just wanted to pick up on one thing that Lisa talked about opening the membership to all women. And this is the point that we really want to get across. And I need you as leadership here in this room to go back to your sisterhoods and get this across that Women's League is an organization for all women. And when we had our membership team come in and address the Women's League presidents, Debbie Goldich and Eileen Rubin came in as they're going to be part of our initiative of outreach to women who are not affiliated with the sisterhood. And one of the things they came up with, which we're going to work on, is a member is a member is a member. So remember that. They're not a different class. They're not a different category. They're a member. They join Women's League. They are a member. So, okay. We have about 3 more reports, plus I'd like Anna to talk about the Women's League mission to Israel. And then we have our presentations from our region presidents and Torah Fund VPs. It is now 12:25. I'd like to do one of the presentations from the region presidents first before we break for any lunch, because I know some people have to leave early to catch planes. Okay, just a minute. So, you have to get back? Okay, before we do that, I'm going to ask Sandy Coppell, who is our brand-new rep to the United Nations, our NGO, to come up and give her report. She has to get back to her office. Thank you, Sandy.
I'm not going to read the report that I gave you. I just want to give you a couple of highlights. As Rita said, Lucy Becker and I were both honored by being added to the Women's League NGO team, in addition to Barbara Glass, who is continuing to serve. In some circles, there is less respect for the United Nations as an institution. This past week, we were privileged to hear Ambassador Richard Shifter, Emeritus, as he offered us a history of how this occurred. The reputation of the UN began to decline in the 1970s. There is more to the UN, though, than just the General Assembly and the Security Council, where Israel too often gets a bad rap. It fosters some amazing programs, and we must accentuate the positive the UN is doing. We were privileged to attend briefings throughout the year on current issues. 2 of these were sponsored by the Israel Permanent Mission to the UN. The first was empowering women through education to break the cycle of domestic violence. There is a facility near Haifa that trains women from many different countries to be able to support themselves and thus make them less vulnerable to abuse. The other was in conjunction with World Autism Day. Israel's been a world leader in autism research. Speakers from Africa and Indonesia, the Indonesian women in Muslim attire, thanked Israel for taking the initiative in this and for sponsoring Professionals Without Borders to help them. Our own Gloria Fischel was instrumental in bringing autism to the forefront of the UN. Since 2006, the UN has instituted annual Holocaust remembrance events to encourage awareness, not only here in New York, but throughout the world. This year's theme was Rescue During the Holocaust, the Courage to Care. This was an amazing program that we can be proud that the UN supports this not only here, but throughout the world to commemorate and educate all people about the Holocaust. We are all aware of the many flaws of the UN, but should not abandon our hope in this remarkable institution. Through our vigilant involvement in this vital organization, we can influence it towards the democratic principles on which it was founded.
Thank you, Sandy. And this is one of the things that I think many of our members don't even realize that we do, that we have an NGO at the United Nations, and we have 2 alternates in Barbara Glass and in Lucy Becker. They are 3 wonderful women who are very committed to attending these meetings and sessions at the UN and making the presence of Women's League known there. And previously, as she said, Gloria Fischel was our rep there for many years, and we are very grateful to Gloria for what the presence and how she made Women's League well known in the UN. So, let's So I think we can finish this meeting and then have lunch, because the reason I want to do this is we're not going to have live stream after lunch, and I want to have the women at home who are watching this have a chance to really hear and see everybody, and we have time. According to Carolyn, we have time. The cafeteria is not going to close on us. I got a little email from a Judy Solomon, who is the newly elected board member from Garden State, and she wants everyone to know she's also online, so welcome, Judy. So now I'm going to call upon Margie Miller for Convention 2014.
Hi, Judy and Ella. I don't even know where to wave. The very best convention ever, as you heard, is going to take place from Thursday, July 17th until Sunday, July 20th, 2014 at the Hanover Marriott in Whippany, New Jersey, closest train station, Morristown, New Jersey. A couple of months ago, the vice chair, Randy Schwartz, Phyllis Goldberg, who's our program chair, and I met with Rita and our directors to begin, and Faye Leveson, to begin the process of beginning the process. We are going to try very hard for this convention, instead of having kind of the machas, no, you know, not a judgment of a negative, but just the more known volunteer base that we always do when we go to for every task and every chair. We're really trying to step out of that and create teams of people working on various tasks rather than assign it to a person. And I'll give you very quickly a couple of very quick examples because I see Karen here. Karen is one of 7 people. Now, she's a past sisterhood president a few times, actually. I have 3 current presidents from Houston, from Winnipeg, and from St. Louis to join a couple of Women's League leaders on a 7-man team to help really figure out the needs of the sisterhood presidents. They don't necessarily they're not necessarily going to run the sessions, but that doesn't preclude them from doing that. So having more inclusive committees, we have, for instance, registration. I have a very, very active sisterhood member, a very active region member, and a woman that sits on our executive committee who are going to, as a team, organize the registration group. And so that's going to be the mantra, really putting this out there. And, you know, we know a lot of amazing women that are out there that just never seem to get on these teams. And so that's what we're going to do. And so I know that there's some people we haven't made every assignment yet. We are in the process of doing that. There's just not enough room at the table for everybody. But that doesn't mean when we get to convention, there are not going to be lots of tasks through the personnel department to make sure everybody feels some ownership at this convention. Tomorrow, actually, we're taking Randy and Phyllis to go to the site so that they get to see it logistically, and so, you know, we're going to manage that. The dates are in the in your packet, and so as soon as we define who's on programming and who's really on that steering planning committee, we'll make sure those women know, yes, you're on this specific committee to come to those particular meetings. We expect every one of you, every woman on this board, to support this convention, not only in person, by having you attend, but by assisting when asked and encouraging women for your sisterhoods and your regions to attend. Remember, the Stronger Than the Storm New Jersey is proudly waiting to host this convention, and we can't wait to be there.
Thank you, Margie. I know we're all looking forward to it, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful convention. And this is another new innovation, having the convention begin on Thursday and end on Sunday, which means that many of our working women will be able to join us, and it will also be over Shabbat. So I think that that's also very innovative. And also the fact that it's going to be in July instead of December when we've been having it, which might make it a lot more accessible for people to come, who, especially women who are teachers who are off during the summer, or younger women who have kids that go to sleepaway camp and they have a little more free time to come. So we're always thinking of ways of reaching out, and this is one of the changes we made to make it more accessible for everybody to come to convention. And now, Torah Fund, Lauren Wishnu. It's part of your report, and we'll do the presidents after. You're not going to be, I don't know that they'll see you. I'd like everyone to come on the stage so the camera can see you and everyone at home can see you. Okay. We'll get out of the way and your tour fund VPs can be here over there, not in front of you.
So before I ask my VPs up, it's fun to be able to say that. Hi, we just finished, just a little while ago, intensive training. One of the better trainings I've had the pleasure of not only attending but running with the help of Carolyn Barron and Abby and Janet Arnowitz, who couldn't be here this afternoon. She went home last evening. So I want to tell you about the ongoing campaign, which has another 2 weeks, essentially. Our books are closing. Our books are technically closing Saturday. We don't like to say that here, but it is June 15th. They always get extended, but that's a big secret. Let me tell you the truth. The truth is that at this very moment, as of this morning, we sit just beyond $1.6 million. I think that's fabulous. Having said that, I would much rather be able to stand here and tell you that I've gone over 2-point-something million as we did last year. So I'm going to look each and every one of you as close in the eyes as I possibly can and say, if you have not paid your Torah Fund commitment, do it now. If you will go home and talk to people who are sitting on the fence, who have decided somebody else can pay, that's not going to work. Ladies, our numbers are down. These halls and the people that walk through them need us, okay? Enough said. I am passing around the new pin, supporting the theme of Mishpacha, as Lisa has so elegantly talked about. We embrace the same theme. We're looking forward to building a new campaign going forward with that, with my new class of Torah Fund, Region Torah Fund VPs. At lunch, apropos of your renewing your pledge to Torah Fund, I will hand you a card as asked by our secretary and office aficionado, Katie. The letters are a little slow in coming out, so you might very well make your pledge now and hand that in. If you want to write a check at the same time, hard cash is accepted, whatever you would like. The Torah Fund office is on the 9th floor. They have a visa thing, whatever. So, I want to say that as a result of our hard work, we have overwhelmed our VPs. We have sent them home with about a 7-pound Bible that they have been instructed to sleep with for 2 solid weeks, and then they can start to open it and look at it. We're very excited to move forward. The bittersweet part of it, as you know, is that Carolyn is abandoning us, basically. Everybody's been nice about it. I'll tell you like it is. She's leaving. She's literally leaving the state. She is scheduled for a frontal lobotomy on July 2nd so that we can suck everything in her brain out. This is the truth. We took away her passport. Abby has been working in transition with us for quite some time. I am thrilled to be working with Abby. One thing I can't compare, there's no comparison. They bring different things to the plate. I am thrilled for the privilege to be able to work with Abby. And I think as you get to know her, you will understand why. The office staff does not go home at night anymore. They are locked, chained to their desk in order to accomplish everything that has to be accomplished. Katie and Cheryl are wonderful. They're picking up all of the funny loose pieces that Carolyn might be leaving behind. She's packing everything. It'll be fine. I keep telling myself that. And yet anyone who was here Monday night, we had a wonderful tribute to Carolyn. And Lauren, with her sense of humor and her nutsiness, Lauren was the one whose voice broke when she had to talk to Carolyn. What can I say? I love my job. You know that. I'm crazy. And I welcome my class. Come on up because they have a presentation for you. I must say that Garden State is doing a very exciting thing. Rather than having one VP as they have had in the past, they are a team of 4. 2 of the 4 were able to be with us at training. We're bringing the other 2 gals in for a supplemental training. So they're not here. They went home last night. Southern was not able to come. BQLI was not able to come. And unfortunately, we do not have a representative as yet from North by Northwest. So these are our gals in strength now. The rest are behind the scenes. So take it away. I know nothing about this. Hopefully, we will not be mortally embarrassed. Wait. Why don't you introduce yourselves quickly? Start here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Jill Tomar from Gainesville, Florida. I am the Vice President from Florida Region.
Yay.
Lisa Siegel, New York City, the Metro North Region.
Cindy Ginsburg, St. Louis, Missouri, Intercontinental Region.
Bobby Corbin, Potomac, Maryland, Seaboard Region.
Raisy Jacobson, International Northeast Region.
Edna Schrank, Northbrook, Illinois, Central Great Lakes Region.
The winner of the most emails previous to training.
Yes, thank you.
Vicki Eisman, Newton, Massachusetts, North Atlantic Region.
Rochelle Hurt, Hainesport, New Jersey, Mid-Atlantic Region.
Thank you very much.
Aren't they wonderful? So region presidents, you've got a lot to live up to here, I don't know. Not to put any competition going here, but no pressure, no pressure. I hope those of you at home got to see that. Okay, before I present the new region presidents, just a little addition to the agenda. I'm going to ask Anna Trachtenberg to rush up here real quick to tell us a little bit about more about the Israel mission.
I've just been told by Margie that I'm between all of us and lunch. Well, let me tell you, we're going to feed you on this trip. We've talked about spirituality. We've talked about family. Israel is our family. You travel with Women's League to Israel. What could be better? The trip has been designed by a company that knows Israel inside and out. The woman we're working with is a List college graduate. Rita is leading the trip. Anyone who's traveled to Israel with Rita knows that she loves it. You're never alone when you travel to Israel with Women's League friends and family. We've hoped that we've planned a wonderful itinerary that will take you to places that you may have been before, but you'll see new and exciting locations with friends and family, and experience Israel through the eyes of Women's League, friends, and the Masorti movement. Please, if you have any questions, ask me. And visit the Women's League website for the complete itinerary. We'd love to have you come. Think about it. It will be fun, exciting, an adventure, and most of all, it'll be good for you and good for Israel. Thank you.
I have to tell you that I've already been to Israel in February. Last year, I was in Israel 4 times because of different missions and meetings. And every single time I go, I see something new, I see something different, I meet new people, and it's just the most wonderful place to go. So if you've never been, this is your opportunity to come with us. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your status is, come with us. So, and if you've been before, come again. Israel needs us. You can register on our website, which I am doing today for my husband and I to come, because he didn't get to go last time. So, okay. The class of 2013-2015 region presidents.
Shortest one first. Idell Wood, Philadelphia, Mid-Atlantic region.
Agnes Emmett, Pacific Southwest.
Eileen Rothman, East Brunswick, New Jersey, Garden State region.
I'm Sue Taffet, Rockville, Maryland, where Seaboard shines.
Claire Gonzelman, Metro North, your host city.
Debbie Bruce, Milford, Massachusetts, North Atlantic region. Go Bruins!
Bev Dunn, Calgary, Alberta, North by Northwest.
I'm Ellen Vanoker Potash, Nashville, Tennessee, Southern region.
Debbie Green, Buffalo Grove, Illinois, Central Great Lakes region, and for Debbie Bruce, the Blackhawks are going to win.
Ann Schimberg, Sarasota, the fabulous Florida region.
Linda Steinhorn, Buffalo, New York, International Northeast region.
Vivian Lieber, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island region, but you could call us BQLI.
Ellie Sokol, Houston, Texas, Intracontinental region.
So ladies, the Rockettes have nothing on you. Let me tell you. What a great, great group of new region presidents that we have and new region Torah Fund VPs. And again, I want to give very special thanks to Carol Simon, our Region Services Chair, who helped so much with the training, and to Mimi Pollock, who helped with all of the logistical parts of this conference. Thank you so much. And now it's wonderful because we're ending just in time to go enjoy each other's company at lunch, and you can have all the time in the world, and it's meat day, So, Razel, what are you waving up there? Give back the name tag to Razel, because I don't want to say that. What? And find out where the Torah Fund pin is and where my convention proceedings book. Oh, she has it. Razel has it. There you are. For those of you who joined us on live stream, thank you so much for joining with us. We're sorry you're not here in person and can't be here for lunch, but maybe next time. Thank you, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.